Hi, this is Cindy from VintageToNew with another video tutorial. This little project is a little diaper cover that I had used in a previous tutorial, but I wanted to show you that you could take any diaper cover that has an already sewn crotch in it and add a snap crotch to it if you would like. It also extends the size just a little bit of your diaper cover so it can be worn a little bit longer. Now, there's different ways that elastic has been added into a casing. This one was made by me, and so this casing is in this, the elastic is in this casing just going around. And so if I were to just cut it, that elastic would get lost in there. Sometimes if you buy already manufactured clothing, they sew the elastic in place all the way around. So you need to determine what kind of elastic you have on here. But because this one, if I were to cut it, would the elastic would spring apart, I'm going to show you what we should do first. Okay, as you can see, I have the crotch seam of the diaper cover right there, and I'm going to just sew back and forth across the elastic on both sides, very close to that seam. Now, you would of course use matching thread, not contrasting thread. Do it on both sides of the seam. And you're just doing that so that when I cut this seam open, the elastic won't fall back into the casing and be lost. All right, so here we are, and now we're just going to cut across right on that seam, right across like that. Now, I'm going to trim it up a little so it's nice and straight. So it's nice and straight, so you can see that. Okay, so now I have the elastic caught in the casing on both sides and the crotch cut open. Okay, I've cut a piece of fabric that will coordinate with the diaper cover. I cut it a little bit wider than the width of the crotch. It's about 3 inches wide, and what I'm going to do is mark right where the opening goes on both sides. All right, and then I want to leave about a 1/4 inch. Mark another 1/4 inch. Okay, so as you can see, this one would allow to have that 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to cut it right there and right there. So this piece of fabric will be the width of the crotch plus a 1/4 inch on each side for seam allowance. Bring it back over to my machine, and I'm going to sew right along that edge, back stitching at both places. Gonna do it on both sides. Okay, and as you see, I have now formed a little pocket. All right, and I want this corner right here to turn and to be nice and sharp corner. So I'm going to trim off right from the seam to a nice little 45-degree angle like that on both sides. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it right side out, pushing those corners out. And you can use your scissors or a little tool or whatever to push those corners out so that they're nice and sharp. Okay, now I'm going to take this over and I'm going to press it so that it's nice and flat. Okay, now you can see I have pressed my flap and I've made another one just like it, one for the front and one for the back. Now I'm going to take my flap and I'm going to put it so that this side seam right here is exactly on the edge right there, and I'm putting the right side of my flap to the wrong side of the diaper cover, and I'm going to match the other side the same way, pinning it in place. Okay, and you can put a pin in the middle if you want to do that too, but you can see that I now have that flap that goes from side to side of the crotch. This side seam matching that side matching that side. Now we're going to just move over here to my sewing machine, and you're just going to pull this back so that you can get your sewing machine right on the edge right there. Now you don't probably want to run over your pin, so pull that out, and then we're just going to slowly sew our seam across, making sure that that's all lined up. And we're going to sew, taking out the pin on the other side, right across all the way to the edge. Give it a little back tack, and that's done. So this is what we have. We have sewn that across. Now we're going to flip it up. See how the inside, the wrong side, has a flap like that. And now we're going to take this over to our iron, and we're going to fold this down 1/4 inch and press. All right. Okay, you can see that I have folded the top edge down under 1/4 inch, and I've pinned it in place. Then I'm going to take it up to my machine, and I'm going to top stitch it in place. Be sure and remove your pins as you sew along. Sew all the way to the other edge and back stitch. And you should have a nice little flap on one side of the crotch of your diaper cover. And it should look something like this on the inside, something like that on the outside. Now repeat all those steps on the other side, and I'll get back right to you. Okay, now we have both of the flaps sewn on the back and the front of the diaper cover. The elastic is very secure within the seams. Now, I like to have the back of the diaper cover snap up over the front of the diaper cover that way. So I need to put my snaps in so the snaps are on this side of the back and the front of the front. So when they go up together, they snap. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, starting on the back of the back, I'm going to poke a hole into the fabric. Okay, I take one of the attachments and I put it in the hole like so, and the poke comes up through the top. I take one of the pieces that have the outie part, and then I take my attachment tool, which looks like this. It has this little spot right here where the top of this fits right into that little attachment, and then it gets smashed in. Now, my preference is the 20mm snaps. You just squish it down really tight. And what happens is that part that was poking up, I don't know if you can see this, smashes down into a flat little piece that very securely holds these snaps in place. So I'm going to repeat that for the center here Do it again so that you can see. All right, get in there. Get it lined up nice, secure, give it a squish. And then I'm going to repeat that for the third one over here. Okay, now that I have all three in the back, and if you would have been smarter than me, you would have marked them with a pencil where you want to put them, because I didn't get them very evenly spaced. But we're going to go with what we got because these are almost impossible to get off. So what you do next is, because I want this to come up and snap into that, I need to put my snap so this part is on the top and the holder is in the back. So give it a push, put in the snap, put this on top, use my tool to press it in. Okay, so to make sure that I did it right, you can see the back comes up and we'll press right into that snap, and it snaps right there. So then I repeat that, matching up each one of these snaps going across. So I'll do one for here and one for there. Okay, so now you see I have the snaps in the crotch of this little diaper cover. I made it so that the back pulls up and snaps into the front this way. Okay, so I have the little parts that snap together there. And when you've done this, depending on how big you make this little flap right here, you're adding a little bit of size to the leg opening and the width of your diaper cover. So if you have diaper covers that are starting to be just a little bit too small, you can add this in. It'll give you a little extra room. If you're making your own diaper covers and you want to add this little snap, move your snaps a little farther up and you'll have a great snap open diaper cover that's very secure. So thank you for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.